Hey, Carl, how have you been? It's been a long time.
Mom? Is that you? What do you want?
Well, I can hardly say it's a dire emergency. But you haven't been in touch much lately, have you? I was just wondering how you were, that's all. Is everything all right? How's life?
It's good. No, it's great.
That's fantastic, son. I'm pleased to hear it. That reminds me. Mildred from down the street gave me a lift home today. She grows vegetables in the plot in the yard, and she gave me a bunch which she said were spares. There's much more that I could eat myself here. Shall I send you some?
Forget it. How many times I gotta tell you I don't need that kind of crap. I can go buy my own vegetables.
But the cost of living is skyrocketing these days. There's no shame in accepting a handout, you know. We have to save money where we can.
Save money? You probably can't say the same, but I don't have to do degrading poor people stuff like that anymore.
Degrading poor people stuff? That's no way to speak about anyone, son. I didn't raise you like this. There's nothing degrading or shameful about saving money. They're saying a recession is on the way, so we might all have to tighten our belts, whether we like it or not, before long. You're still young, so surely you can't have that much put aside in savings.
You've been like this ever since I was a kid, huh, Mom? You always seem to miss stuff that's staring you right in the face. Think about it, with the money I have to pay for delivery on those vegetables, I could probably buy more by myself.
Don't be silly. I'll cover shipping. I want you to save your money for a rainy day.
In that case, I'd rather you just keep your mouth shut up and send me cash instead. I don't want your freaking turnips. You're too dim to think of something that obvious, though. I guess you are poor, though. Poor people aren't exactly known for their intellect, so I shouldn't be surprised.
Carl, you might be able to put on this bold front because you have money now. But no one knows what tomorrow's going to bring. It's wise to have money set aside in the event of an emergency.
You do know I work for a major global company, don't you? We're more well-known than most A-list celebrities. I'm hardly struggling.
Surely you know better than to be that naive. Companies go bankrupt overnight all the time. The world is particularly unstable these days. Look at all the major companies that have disappeared into the pages of history, once household names, but now only a handful of people know they ever even existed. You might have money now, but what about next month? Next year? In 5 years? By saving up diligently, you can have your feet planted firmly enough on that ground that you won't fall over at the first gust of wind.
I hardly need you to tell me that, Mom. What am I, 12?
I hope you're taking care to eat right, too. A well-balanced diet is a foundation of a healthy lifestyle. Particularly in your case, let's face it, you've always been a fussy eater. I remember when you were a little boy and refused to eat anything other than pasta and cucumbers. You've always been prone to going off the rails with these things. I know it might seem like I'm nagging, but I worry about you, son.
I'm not a poverty-stricken loser like you, Mom, so I really don't need your advice. One thing's for sure, I live a damn sight more intelligently more than you do. If anything, you should be begging me to impart my wisdom on you.
Poverty-stricken loser?
You're hardly doing great, are you? You married Dad and quit your job to be a stay-at-home housewife, but then he cheated on you and kicked you out to move his lover in. You have the worst judgment of all time. You're hardly in any position to be giving advice. It's thanks to your awful judgment I had to endure being raised by a single mom. I had to spend my childhood in that worn-out, trashy apartment because of you.
Sure, I accept that we didn't live in the biggest of apartments back then. But it's not fair to pretend you spent your entire childhood there. You know I did what I could to give you everything you needed once you moved up to elementary school.
You have no idea how badly I wished I was born into a normal family with normal parents. Why did I have to be the one who grew up without a dad? Why did I have to be the one who felt like crap every time the conversation turned to family at school? Why did my mom have to be so different to all the other moms? Why did you have to be poor? All I ever wanted was answers. Why did it have to be me?
I'm sorry, son. I know you never had it as easy as the other kids. You went through so much.
No kidding. All my co-workers at this company have super rich parents. I'm the only one here who was raised by a broke single mom. It makes me feel so ashamed I haven't told anyone. I'm still suffering because you and Dad didn't have it together, even now.
I see. I had no idea. But Carl, I want you to know I raised you with nothing but your success and happiness in mind. Please don't forget that. Not ever. Not a day goes by where I don't think of you, even though we're apart.
I don't need to hear this crap. If you really love me, stop wasting my time and send me $10,000. Maybe if you do that, I might consider believing you.
$10,000? 10,000? Are you struggling with money, son? Are you in trouble?
I want a new car. Everyone else's parents buy them cars except mine. I did think of buying my own, but my money alone just isn't gonna cut it.
Carl, you live in the city center. Why do you need a car? Didn't you yourself say you're fine without one?
Things are different now I have a real job. What must my co-workers think of me? It'd be bad enough if they found out I was raised by a single mom. Can you imagine if they knew I didn't have a car? Everyone knows a man's social status is defined by his car.
I see. A car, huh?
It's not like I'm asking you to pay for it all. But can't you at least come up with $10K for me? All my co-workers and friends' parents buy them cars. All I'm asking for is a little help. How much longer can I go on telling the guys at the office my Ferrari's at the garage for repairs? The embarrassment is killing me.
I see. Okay, son. You're going to get your car. I'll come up with the money somehow or other.
Wow, really?
Yes, really. I just want you to know there's a chance I won't be able to contribute much to your wedding fund when you find a nice girl to settle down with one day. It's not like I'm doing this as a substitute, but my savings have their limits.
Who cares about that? I didn't expect anything anyway. I'll be way happier with a car.
I want you to promise me you'll take good care of it, and safe driving is a must.
Come on, Mom, duh, of course I will. I'm gonna look for one I like right now. Send me the money once I've made my mind up, okay, Mom? I'm counting on you.
Carl, will you be coming home for your birthday this year?
Even if I did, there's nothing for me to do there. It's so boring at your place. You live in the middle of nowhere. Nah, whatever. I guess I can come if I'm not doing anything else.
I see. Okay. Look after yourself, sweetie. Don't do anything your old mother wouldn't do.
Mom, I got married.
What? You had a girlfriend?
Duh, you stupid. Of course I did. This is me we're talking about.
Right. Still, though, it's a surprise to hear you're tying the knot all of a sudden. I'm so pleased you found that special someone. Will you be moving in together? When's the wedding?
I told you, Mom, we already got married. Past tense, ya doofus.
Huh? You got married? As in you're married right now?
Yep.
So you already live together?
Jeez! Man, it's a miracle my IQ is as high as it is with a moron of a mom like you.
Carl, why on earth didn't you tell me about this before the wedding? This is important.
I don't remember having a duty to report everything that happens in my life to you. Who are you, the government?
No. Sure, of course you don't have to tell me everything. But I would have loved to know, and to meet your bride-to-be before you tied the knot. Besides, surely you dated for a while before you decided to pop the question. Couldn't you have introduced me to her then?
Forget it! I have no plans to let you meet her. Not now, not ever. It just so happens that I was thinking of breaking off all my ties with you today. Now, in fact.
What?
I can't carry on associating with poor people. I've moved up in the world, you know. The fact that you're mom makes no difference. If your income's low, you gotta go. Not only do I work for a major global company, but my wife's family are crazy rich. Can you imagine how embarrassing it'd be for me if my broke mom showed up to one of their dinner parties?
Carl, please don't be like this. You know I'd make the effort to look the part.
Didn't I just make it obvious that that isn't the problem? Can you read? Then figure it out! People like that can smell poor people from a mile off. The fact I was raised by a single mom is bad enough on its own. If they actually saw you, their opinion of me would hit rock bottom in a heartbeat, and my life as I know it would pretty much be over. I have to stop my wife's parents finding out my family is poor at all costs.
Rather than that, didn't they think it was strange that the groom's parents were nowhere to be seen at the wedding? Didn't they ask?
I told them I'm not in contact with you anymore from the beginning. To quote my exact words, it's better to have no mother than a bad one. Besides, think about it, it's easier for all of them if I don't have a family. No one actually enjoys family dinners where everyone has to laugh at each other's crappy jokes and pretend they get along. I bet they felt a weight lifted off their shoulders as soon as I told them.
I see.
Which means this is the last time we'll ever speak. It's time for you to get out of my life. Me, my wife, and her family are all gonna live happily ever after now. I need you to promise you'll never try and contact me again. Leave me to live my life in peace, okay?
I take it that means you can't be happy with me around?
Exactly. You're nothing but a burden. Face it, you're not getting any younger. Before long, you'll be old, infirm, and begging for me to look after you. I don't have the time or patience for that. And Lord knows I wasn't put on this earth to change diapers. It's for the best we go our separate ways. You need to promise you'll never bother me again.
Carl, you have no idea how important you were to me. Maybe you never realized, but it's true. You were the most important thing in the whole world to me.
Stop trying to guilt trip and make me feel sympathy for you, Mom, because it ain't gonna work. Like I said before, if you really love me, prove it by sending me money. If you promise to give me $50,000 to cover what went into the wedding, I'll consider staying in contact with you. I'm pretty sure there's no way you're capable of putting together that much money, though.
$50K is a little much. You're right, I can't.
I knew it. You're just as useless as I thought. I knew I made the right decision in terminating our relationship. This is goodbye, you sad, broke old woman. Never call me your son again.
Understood. If it makes you happy, I'll never contact you again.
Thank God for that. Your only redeeming quality is that you know when to take a hint. I'm grateful for that, at least. But with your personality being as crappy as it is, I doubt you'll ever be happy.
I am happy.
No way, impossible. Despite being such a decrepit old hag, you're almost ready for a nursing home. You don't even own a single piece of branded clothing. You always wear those disgusting, tattered, worn-out old rags you've probably had in your closet since the Stone Age. And like me, you don't know the meaning of luxury or extravagance. That doesn't sound like happiness to me.
No amount of fancy, expensive clothes will make you happy.
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing your broke-ass loser excuses. You probably used the same one back in the Great Depression, you old hag. You're definitely old enough to have been around back then. Want to know what the real Great Depression is? Your life. Bye. Go crawl into a dark hole where you can't bother me ever again, then die. Hey, Mom, it's been ages. How have you been?
Huh? Who's this?
Carl! No way, did you delete my number? Rude. How could you do that to your own son?
Is there something I can help you with?
Will you be speaking all stiff and formal? Who are you, a freaking hotel receptionist? Anyway, forget that, let's get straight down to business. Why didn't you tell me you got married?
Why would I?
Why would you? Oh, I don't know, maybe because I'm your son? But wow, holy Jesus balls, Mom. How the hell did you manage to bag yourself the CEO of Silicon Valley's hottest new startup? I have to meet him. Think of all the business connections to be made here. Tell him he's gonna be meeting his son-in-law real soon.
What on earth are you talking about? Mom? I only have a daughter. I don't have a son.
Huh? A daughter? What the? Wait, this is Nina Cheswick's number, right?
Yes, that's me. Well, it was. My name's Nina Nesbitt now.
Aha, I knew it, so you are my mom! Why would you say something so awful, Mom? That stings. I think about you all the time. I feel awful about how things ended between us.
How things ended between us? You mean how you cut me out of your life and told me never to contact you again?
I never wanted to do that, Mom. But I had to take the opinions of the people around me into consideration. What else was I supposed to do? I was rubbing shoulders with the elite back then. I thought I was finally making my break into the big leagues.
Good for you.
Just let me meet him, Mom. If, by any chance, is your daughter the new husband's kid from an old marriage?
Maybe she is. What of it?
Are you sure you're okay with this, Mom? That kind of baggage isn't something to be taken on lightly, you know.
She's the same age as you.
Mom, please think carefully. Are you sure this is what you want? Baggage like that usually only means trouble. Think about it. Hating your in-laws is practically an American cultural tradition at this point. You'll never be her real mom, you know that, right? Has she said anything mean to you? You've always been mean and incapable of asserting yourself, and I'm worried about you. You get blown around like a feather in wind by the opinions and demands of other people.
Your worries couldn't be further misplaced. Caitlin is lovely and has been very kind to me ever since we met. We cook meals together, go out shopping together, watch movies together, gossip about our favorite celebs together. Anyone who didn't know would mistake us for best buddies. She even took me on a trip to Greece last month. I never felt more loved and appreciated.
She took you abroad? Your daughter-in-law took you on a trip abroad?
Yes, she took me abroad. She's such a darling. I'm lucky to have her.
It must be nice for filthy rich parents. You get to live life on easy mode. You get to do the best school. You get easy pickings on the best jobs. You get to wear the best clothes and eat at the best restaurants, and all without even trying. She must be seriously well off if she can afford to splurge on expensive holidays for a mom-in-law.
Her father's the hardest working man I've ever met. His wife left him when Caitlin was young, just like how your dad walked out on us. To make matters worse, the company he was with at the time went bankrupt the same day. He was forced to go into debt just to keep a roof over his head, but he didn't let the setbacks deter him. He kept fighting and made a success of himself against all odds. Which is why you're wrong. His daughter wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth. She had to endure more want, hardships, and suffering than any of her peers.
Wow. But even so, surely her rich hotshot dad was the one who actually paid to fly you out to Greece. When you say his daughter took you, you probably mean she just happened to tag along, right? Yeah, of course she did. I bet Daddy's little girl gets whatever she wants without having to lift a finger.
Wrong. Caitlin paid for me to go to Greece with her with nothing but her own hard-earned money.
She did? Whatever. You don't love her more than me, your beloved son, do you? I just know you wouldn't love someone else's kid more than me, your actual son. Of course not. She's probably nothing to you compared to me.
That's not true at all. She's one of the sweetest, kindest, most charming people I've ever met. She saw to it that I got to do all of the things I've always dreamed of doing but couldn't, and I couldn't be happier to have her in my life. I'm filled with pride to be blessed with such an amazing daughter. I'm the happiest I've ever been.
Look, Mom, I'm so sorry the way I treated you. But admit it, this is all just an act to make me feel jealous because you're mad about what I did, isn't it? I'm sorry I broke things off with you. It was stupid of me and I regret it. Can we see each other, please? Even just one more time will do.
Why would I want to see you?
Because I'm worried about you.
I'm fine, really. In fact, I've never been doing as well as I am now, so do us all a favor and just forget about me. Anyway, I have nothing more to say to you. Goodbye.
Oh, wait a sec! Mom, please don't go. I need your help. I lost my job. I'm unemployed now.
Ah, yes. Come to think of it, I did hear something along those lines. Your company did a huge restructure, right? I take it you didn't make the grade.
You knew? If you knew, why didn't you do anything to help me? Why didn't you reach out? You have no idea how much I've suffered because of this. I barely recognize my life anymore. My in-laws are constantly on my back about finding a job. They literally never shut up about it. It's like I'm nothing to them now I don't work for a major company anymore. I'm doing my best, really I am, but I can't seem to find any good jobs. What's worse, the in-laws aren't the only ones giving me the cold shoulder. My wife's been grumpy with me ever since. She won't even cook for me or do my laundry anymore.
I know it's not your fault the company decided to do a restructure. But surely you understand this is the path you chose? It has nothing to do with me.
Don't say things like that, Mom. We're family. You gave birth to me for crying out loud. I'm your real son, but you talk about some stranger you've only known 5 minutes like she's more important than me.
You cut me out of your life in the most heartless way possible and told me to never contact you again, Carl. I did exactly what you asked of me and left you alone.
I only said that in the heat of the moment. I know now what an amazing person you are.
Is that so? To me, it looks like you're only messaging me because you're struggling financially. You seem awfully intrigued by the fact that my new husband happens to be the CEO of a major company, too. At no point have I felt like the reason we're speaking again after all of this time is because you hold any positive feelings for me. Oh, by the way, Anna, your old childhood friend, got in touch with me recently. She holds a senior position at my husband's company. She said you'd been pestering her for all kinds of information about him. What might the reason for that be, Carl?
Yeah, she told you? What the hell is her problem?
She probably thought it was best I know because of how suspicious you were acting. I'm good friends with her mom, you see. So she knew all about how you treated me. Oh, I heard something else, too. It turns out I wasn't the only one you decided you were too good to associate with. I heard you blocked all of your old school friends after calling them a bunch of cringy losers and telling them never to contact you again.
No! Well, okay, maybe I did, but it was just a prank.
Of course you bragged to them about your fancy new life in the city and all the expensive stuff you could afford first. I can't think of a better way to be universally hated than kicking your entire circle of childhood friends out of your life because you think having a good job makes you superior to them all of a sudden.
Ugh, you know what? Fine, I did say that. Want to know why? Because I live in a different world to those small fries. They're dweebs. And they should be grateful to have ever met someone like me.
Ah, and there we have it. I see you haven't changed a bit. There really is no hope for you if you still think like that after all this time. I'm guessing the only reason you're begging for money now is because Anna refused to give you any? You're a disgrace to the human race.
That's no way to talk about your son! Besides, you're the one who raised me. If I'm flawed, you're the only one to blame.
Maybe so. Perhaps I did go wrong somewhere down the line. But in any case, there's nothing I can do about it now. You're beyond all hope of salvation.
Don't say that, Mom. I'm struggling here. I need a helping hand.
I am not your mother. You're the one who ended our relationship. You're the one who said I'm not your mom anymore. You're the one who made us strangers. You!
Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm filled with nothing but regret over how cruel and horrible I was to you. There's no excuse, and I won't try to make any.
I'm glad to hear it. But some things can never be undone.
But the only reason I said those things in the first place was because I thought you'd understand I had no choice due to my situation. I thought you'd find it in your heart to forgive me one day. I realize now that was naive and arrogant of me. I didn't mean what I said.
How many years has it been now? You didn't message me once when it was inconvenient for you, did you? The fact you only come crying to me now when you lose your job tells me everything I need to know. How about you stop pestering me and ask your wife's parents to help you instead? They're the family you chose, after all. I'm sure they'll be tripping over themselves to help you after all the sacrifices you made for them.
I can't exactly say we get along well. They're a pair of haughty tightwads, just like my wife.
Oh, I see. Well, that's not my problem.
Please, Mom, I'm begging you here. The 20K is all I'm asking for. Either that or... Listen, Mom, I'm gonna ask a huge favor of you now. Please, can me and my wife live with you and your husband? You must have tons of spare rooms in his mansion.
You really don't know when to stop, do you? It's actually embarrassing. Cutting all ties with someone means you no longer get the privilege of asking favors. What was it you said to me? Go crawl into a dark hole where you can't bother anyone, then die? It would be one thing to be told that by a child throwing a tantrum, but by your fully grown son? Carrying on as we left off, as if you didn't say any of those hateful things to me, is out of the question.
I may have been an adult back then, but I was still a kid emotionally. Please, can we move past this? Can we forget it like the meaningless, childish nonsense it was? I thought I had license to say whatever I wanted to you because you're my mom. I was naive and foolish enough to believe that you'd always give me another chance.
I don't think you need to tell me this, because you have children of your own now. But parents are humans too. Regardless of whatever situation you were in, you did what you did of your own free will. It's too late now. If you genuinely regretted what you said, you would have reached out and tried to right your wrongs sooner.
I'm so sorry, Mom. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. No amount of apologies could convey how remorseful I am.
I'm the one who should be apologizing. I should be apologizing for not being able to stop you from turning into the vain, arrogant, selfish, money-obsessed monster that you are. I want you to forget about me.
No, listen to me, Mom. I don't want you to apologize. I want you to help me.
Not happening. It's too late now and there's no going back. But if you genuinely regret what you did, then I want you to change. I know that being a stranger, I have no right to tell you that. But I pray you use this as an opportunity to become a better person. Goodbye. I'm going to do exactly what you told me to, which means you don't have to worry about me ever bothering you again. After that, I sent my son $10,000 of my savings. Then, I immediately ended the contract on the only phone that he was capable of contacting me on. I know you probably think I'm a fool for sending him $10,000, but I think of it as a fee for getting him out of my life once and for all. A small price to pay for all the heartache and suffering that he caused me. Hopefully that 10K will take him far enough to find a new job, so he can start building a new life for himself without relying on others. I have no intention of giving him another cent of my money, and even if by some miracle he does manage to track me down again, I won't be there to help him. I had intended to forget about my son after he declared he was kicking me out of his life. But it turned out he didn't have the grit or tenacity to follow through with his decision when times got tough. In a way, I'm pleased he came back. I feel like now I finally have closure. I'll probably never speak to my son again. His arrogant, supercilious attitude saw to it that he lost all of his friends. I heard from his childhood friend Anna recently that he's a complete social pariah now. He's not only universally hated in our hometown, but all of his relationships in the city he moved to for work fell apart when people realized what a nasty, toxic person he is deep down. What can I say? Actions have consequences. If you treat people like dirt, you'll be treated like someone who treats people like dirt. Of course, money is important, but it's ultimately just a means to an end. Was there ever a single person who achieved true happiness and fulfillment through riches alone? I'll let you decide. My son may have gotten $10,000, but no amount of money will fill the hollow, empty void inside of his soul. A mother's love is one of the most powerful things in the world, but even that has its limits. You might say Carl never asked me to give birth to him, and you'd be right. But when children grow up and spread their wings, when they fly the nest and make their own way in the big wide world, they have a duty and responsibility to decide for themselves what kind of people they want to be. If he's capable, I pray that he reflects carefully on everything that transpired between us and uses his guilt and regret as motivation to become a better version of himself. But whether he will is another question. Speaking honestly, if he's superficial and shallow enough to start sucking up to me just after he found out I married a CEO, I doubt there's much hope of him changing his ways. I'm just grateful he didn't cause my new family any problems. My new husband is great, and he understands the true value of money because he's experienced real poverty. He says my money-saving dishes are some of the tastiest food he's ever eaten. Not only that, but we both love going out on the best kinds of dates there are. Walks to the park, movie nights on the sofa. Why? Because the best things in life are free. Me and my stepdaughter may not be related by blood, but I love her as if she were my own. And I feel blessed to have such an amazing person in my life. She's a hard worker, just like her dad, and while she's often busy with work, we always make sure to go for days out as a family when we can find the time. Having such a special stepdaughter almost makes up for all of the things I never got to do with my son. I know I'm lucky to be surrounded by such love and warmth, and I vow to never take what I have for granted. I want my life from here on out to be one of gratitude, service, and love for my incredible family. Here's to our future together.